Well, that's a new one. The tender drive gear is seriously going in the opposite direction. Is this really happening? This is a $2,500 engine, and the drive gear doesn't even spin in the same direction. Of all the issues I've had with Lionel products, I don't think I'm going to be able to fix this one. How can you possibly mess up this bad? It's finally here. The Lionel Vision Line Custom Army Triplex from Mr. Muffins Trains. I honestly haven't been this excited since the Vision Line Big Boy arrived late last year. And dare I say, I may even like this one a little bit better. I mean, it's got 50% more driving wheels, and it's Army Green. Kind of. Lionel announced the Vision Line Triplex about a year ago in late 2023, and deliveries started arriving late September 2024. Mine arrived a few weeks ago, but I had a backlog of videos to complete before I got to this one. And let me tell you, this engine was the best motivation ever to get through that backlog as fast as I could to hit my goal of getting this video published before the 2024 Fall York TCA train show. Now, what do you say we get this thing out of the box and take a look at it? A triplex locomotive was a steam locomotive that divided its driving force on its wheels by using 3 pairs of cylinders to drive 3 sets of driving wheels. Any such locomotive will inevitably be articulated. All triplex locomotives were built of Mallet type, but with an extra set of driving wheels under its tender. The concept was extended to the locomotive with 4, 5, or 6 sets of driving wheels. However, these locomotives were never built, except for one quadruplex locomotive in Belgium. Baldwin Locomotive Works built 3 28882 triplex locomotives for Erie Railroad between 1914 and 1916. A 28882 has 2 leading wheels, 3 sets of 8 driving wheels, and 2 trailing wheels. Because of its length, such a locomotive must be an articulated locomotive. This extra set of driving wheels did not make the triplex any longer than any other triplex locomotive, though, because a third set of drivers was located under its tender. All Erie triplexes were given the classification P1, and they could pull up to 650 freight cars, though triplexes were primarily used as pushers on grades requiring helper locomotives. Another similar design triplex locomotive built by Baldwin was a 28884 for the Virginian Railway, numbered 700 in 1916. This triplex was given the classification XA, so named due to the experimental nature of the locomotive. The 28884 was considered unsuccessful because it only made a maximum speed of 3 to 5 miles per hour and had high maintenance costs. The XA was sent back to Baldwin Locomotive Works where it was taken apart in 1920 and converted to a 2880 and a 282. These 2 engines were in service until 1953, but both engines were scrapped. The Erie Railroad scrapped their triplexes in 1929, 1931, and 1933. The triplex locomotives were of the Mallet type, but with that extra set of driving wheels under the tender. The center set of drivers received high-pressure steam, and the exhaust was fed to the 2 other sets of cylinders. The right cylinder exhausted to the front set of low-pressure cylinders, and the left set to the rear set of low-pressure cylinders. This is also why the high-pressure cylinders are the same diameter as the low-pressure cylinders, whereas most Mallet locomotives have much smaller high-pressure cylinders. The front set exhausted through the smoke box, and the rear set exhausted first through the feed water heater in the tender, and then through a large pipe on the back of the tender. With only half the exhaust steam going through the blast pipe in the smoke box, the draft in the firebox and the heating of the boiler was poor. Although the boiler was large in comparison with contemporary 2- and 4-cylinder locomotives, 6 large cylinders required more steam than even this large boiler could supply, leading to its incredibly short lifespan. The Erie locomotives always operated in compound mode and did not have starting valves that would open to full pressure on all 6 cylinders, yet the triplexes produced a huge amount of tractive effort that may have been the highest of any steam locomotive ever. Westling gives a figure of 160,000 foot-pounds in compound mode and seems to indicate that it was the largest tractive effort of any locomotive up to the mid-1910s. The Union Pacific Big Boy, built in the 1940s, did not exceed the tractive effort of the Erie locomotives either. It had a tractive effort of 135,375 foot-pounds. The rear set of drive wheels was an attempt to take advantage of the weight of the coal and water carried in the tender, but this inevitably led to variable amounts of adhesion. The problem with variable adhesion of the tender unit was not a serious one, as the pusher locomotive had frequent opportunities to take on additional water and fuel. But this variable adhesion also contributed to the triplex being moved to helper service to begin with. In all, only 4 triplex units were built, and only in the United States. In a way, the triplex was ahead of its time, with the tractive effort being so great that the couplings and frames of the freight cars could not withstand it, which was the final reason they were relegated to helper service for pushing up steep grades and never pulling. Even with their huge boilers, the Erie locomotives were also only able to produce enough steam to run at 10 miles per hour, and the Virginian was even worse, limited to 5 miles per hour. Okay, so as you can see in this lighting, the Army triplex is not exactly Army green, but I do appreciate that it's a shade or two brighter. I think it actually adds to the engine with even more contrast between the black accessories that adorn the engine. Starting all the way at the front of the engine, we have this nice scale coupler, a movable Cutler cut bar, multiple separately applied grab irons on the steps leading up to the boiler. Then there's this headlight that fell off during the unboxing. It seems the packing foam was the only thing holding the light in place, since there's no glue applied to it, but that's an easy fix. The boiler hatch is hinged and does open all the way, which I appreciate. Besides that, we have the bicolor classification lights and more grab irons. Then we have the first set of drive cylinders and drive gear, and dual compressors. Being a Vision Line engine, we have a moving bell, and behind that we have the whistle, where the whistle steam comes out, which, as you can see here, it may take a few blasts of the whistle to get the smoke unit to heat up to temp before you'll start to see the whistle steam smoke effect. Below the whistle, we have more grab irons and separately applied details sitting above the second set of drive cylinders and drive gear. Above the cab, we have two vents that do open all the way, along with two sets of movable windows that enclose the nicely painted crew figures. Then we have our third and final set of drive cylinders and drive gear. Above that, we have the removable coal load, which is used to keep the switches hidden. Up top, we have the run program switch, Bluetooth and 4-digit ID switch, main smoke switch, whistle smoke switch, and tender smoke switch. Then we have the two wires leading to the wireless antenna that's hidden in the coal load. On the back of the tender, we have the rear smokestack, more classification lights, separately applied ladder and grab irons, then the rear coupler cut bar and the remotely operated coupler. Alright, so I'm using the cab 3 with my cell phone, and I can get the tender wheels to spool up, but I cannot get the engine to spin, so I don't want to burn a hole in my track, so I just, there it goes, wow, okay. Now I just went to stop, full stop, the tender stopped, but the engine started moving. So I hit the reverse button to go forward, see if I can get the engine to go forward. That's crazy, it just kind of like caught up there at the end, which is good. The tender's still going at a different rate. Okay, the tender's not moving at all. Okay, okay, it's starting to move again. The tender's not moving. Now the tender's moving backwards. If I use the cab 3 with my phone, and this is what happened right out of the box without using the cab 1L remote at all. This is exactly how it was. Actually, it didn't move at all. And I couldn't get them to be in sync at all. So, alright, now I'm only using my phone. Try to back up. Okay, so I'm in reverse. but the tender's going forward and the engine's not moving at all. Okay, so I'm going to drop the throttle all the way. Okay, I'm going to hit the reverse button again on my phone. The tender's moving, but the engine is not. Still. And this is what I actually experienced right out of the box. And I could spool up I can control the tender all day. So I just went down all the way on my phone. So let me try to reverse again on my phone with the Cat 3. No movement of the engine. It was just working a second ago. Now I'm going to switch over to the Cab 1L and I'll start cranking up the throttle and see if we have any luck. Okay, now we do have luck with the Cab 1L. The whole engine is moving in sync, which is great. So it's programmed correctly. And now hit the direction button. Should stop and I should be able to go to reverse. Okay, everything's in sync with the Cab 1L. So a second ago when I was using the Cab 1L, the tender was spinning opposite direction. Now at least everything is spinning the correct direction. That's funny, the smoke is coming not out of the stack, it's coming from under the tender there. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of dissipating. That's interesting. Alright, so the Cab 1L does function appropriately. Okay, so we're good there. Now I'm going to stop it with the Cab 1L. I'm going to switch back over to my phone. And then I'm going to throttle up. Let's see what happens. Only the tender moves. So I'm not exactly sure why that is. It works occasionally, not all the time. So, right now I'll reset and see if we have any luck. Oh, all right, so we're moving with my phone, but then again, the wheels are moving opposite direction. Or they're not moving at all. Nope. The tender wheels are moving opposite direction if I'm using my phone now. It really bounces back and forth, so we'll go over forward with the forward reverse button. And it's not doing it.
Dispatcher, engine 1944. Please stand by. Over. Understood, Graham. Let me know when I'm clear. 1944 out. Dispatcher, engine 1944. You can take the green. Over. Thank you much. All clear, moving to the outbound. 1944 out. My coal's just about empty. Out. 1944 to Graham. Ready to roll. Can I pull? Please stand by. Out. Dispatch, 1944. Ready to roll. Can I pull? You can take the green. Out. Dispatch, this is 1944. The train is in the clear and tied down. We're going to cut off. Over. Gotcha, 1944. Sit tight for now. Out.